Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Cojelo and Take It Easy, a podcast that makes you think, laugh, and grow.
Hey guys, it's Madi.
And I'm Talisa, a 20-something Gemini Venus. You need to talk to me right. And we are here with...
Cora from CapriCora Astrology.
We're so happy to have you back!
Yay! So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course,
Yeah.
anytime. For real, anytime.
Yeah,
We love you.
literally.
Every time I have a question, I'll be like, Cora, the planets, what do I do? She goes, well, I can't tell you what to do. I'm like, don't tell me what to do, but just tell me, like, give a slight suggestion,
Right,
please.
like a
Well,
little
I can
nudge.
give you an objective view of what the planets are doing
Mhm.
and then, allow you to take that information and make your decision based on that. So
Yeah, and I do my best because I already feel it, and I'm like, explain to me why I feel like this, and she'd be like, because of that, and I'm like, knew it.
Yeah, there's
Like,
always
you
a
got me,
reason in
girl.
the sky, like what's going on. So
Yes, and it's beating me to a pulp right now. I don't like it.
I mean, I don't know who in the world is not feeling it,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Weren't like 8 of the planets aligned not even like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, so I find that to be an interesting thing because almost every winter around this time, the planets are visible in the sky. So it's kind of something that's not exactly like crazy rare, kind of like the way the internet was talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But what is interesting is that with the alignment of the planets, being able to see them, some of them are actually physically closer to Earth. Like, for example, Venus, you might have noticed like a bright star at
Mhm.
night.
Mm-hmm.
But Venus is about to go retrograde, and when Venus is in that pre-shadow phase right before the retrograde, it's physically closer to Earth,
Mhm.
and so that's why we could see it like brighter and bigger in the sky. So we also feel Venus's influence a little bit more as well when it's closer to Earth.
Yes.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I've seen a lot, correct me if I'm wrong,
Sure.
because this is from TikTok. What do I know? And Twitter. So they say that Venus affects a lot of your financial
Mm-hmm.
endeavors and obviously romance. So can we discuss that a little bit?
Of
What does the
course.
shadow period look like?
So
Yeah.
What do we look out for? I already know, and I
Yeah.
did it anyway, so let's talk about it.
yeah. So Venus rules all things the feminine, which connects to money, value, beauty, and of course relationships is also part of Venus. And every about 18 months, Venus does a retrograde. But what's really interesting about Venus retrograde is that every 8 years, Venus retrogrades in the same exact area in the sky. And so every 8 years, it's almost like there's a going back to like a reversal of whatever lessons happened 8 years prior. So the retrograde that we're about to start is actually the same one that was in 2017. So right around this time of year, 2017, starting off the year, it was pre-shadow. And then right around, beginning of March is when Venus retrograded. And then for about 40 days or so, 43 days is the retrograde period. And so think of kind of like the beginning half of 2017 and what lessons, maybe around money, around relationships, and it could be romantic relationships, but Venus also rules like our friendships, like specifically like our girlfriends. So if you have like friends, that are girls or sisters, but anything like feminine energy, that tends to be like a big theme as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so shh, please.
You got a lot to say.
The birds, yeah, they're like, girl, we know where you were 2017. Shut up. So if I can remember correctly, I can't because I don't have good memory, but I'm pretty sure in 2017, around that time, I kind of was like, I don't need to be with someone. I don't want to be with someone. Is that weird? And like went to counseling, they were like, no, that's not weird. I was like, yeah, because my friends really do fulfill that part of my life and they nourish me and nurture me in that way that I don't, like, it would just be supplemental, but it wasn't something that I wanted.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a period where I really want it, and I think it's just a reminder that I don't need it. I know that I don't need it. I'm probably better without it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like, I want it bad, and now, but like now I have to wait. I think that's
Well, I think like Venus is all about value, right? And so what's cool about the retrograde is it's a period where you're able to reevaluate your values, right? Like you're able to assess what you like, what you don't like, and that often does come with who you spend your time with, like relationships, but also how you spend your money. So this is also a time where you might be budgeting, or you might be evaluating, like, oh, I'm spending this much on Starbucks, or I'm spending this much, on makeup, or whatever it is.
Right.
But think of, like, what you're putting your energy into, and that is, something that is maybe going to change. So it's good to be fluid and flexible, as we go into the retrograde, because it's really a period to reflect upon yourself. And especially, if you're a woman, it's going to impact you even more. Because Venus is like the feminine. So as a woman, your archetype, that's really, going to be affecting you. On the contrary, we've also been going through a Mars retrograde since December. So that's been a big process. And
what's that? Tell me.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what's
yeah.
beating me up.
That has been going on, since December 6th, and it will continue to be retrograde until February 23rd. So it's a longer retrograde. I think it's like 10 weeks long.
Oh my Lord.
But the Mars on the opposite side is the masculine energy, and so that relates to our our drive, our assertiveness, as well as like our physical energy, and like what we're doing in the world. And so on the other side, like the males could feel weakened around this time, right? It may be, especially because Mars is in Cancer, which is in its most debilitated, its sign of fall. So it's like its worst sign right now. And Cancer rules the feminine, right? Like the moon, the emotions. So men are acting more emotional, more uncertain.
I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry.
But really,
You're
everyone,
onto something.
Everyone's kind of like emotionally triggered right now. So it could
absolutely.
It could be a time that there's a lot of stuff happening. But yeah, Mars and then Venus is going to go retrograde right after. So it's like first half of 2025 is a lot.
Lord.
I have a question.
Yeah.
With Mars in retrograde, how does that affect this is a personal question, my Mars in Aries? Because Aries is a fire sign, right? And it's, what is it? I forget.
The cardinal fire sign?
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I saw a joke like on Twitter before that was like, oh, like you need someone to match your Mars energy or whatever. And someone I was like, I like to see if other people have my placement and see what they say. And someone was like, I have an Mars in Aries. They were like, nobody can match my aggression. Like I'm the leader.
Yeah.
And maybe with this Mars in retrograde, I feel like I've been more direct and more aggressive than I've ever been in my life when it comes to relationships.
Yeah.
I've been like, this is what I want. Boom, boom, pow. And they'd be like, oh, whoa, okay.
Well, I could tell you that so Mars has been retrograding through 2 signs.
Okay.
So it started when it's stationed retrograde, it started in Leo.
Okay.
Leo is also a fire sign. So from, I think it was December 6th to about January 6th. So about a whole month, Mars was retrograde in Leo. So that could have been a time of, definitely more outward aggression, pride, ego even coming through a little bit. And then since January 6th, Mars has been in Cancer. But that is more so very emotional. Like, which again,
That's
the way it mixes with your Mars and Aries, it's creating a square, which creates tension. So it's probably a mix of both, where you're feeling both your natal Mars feeling aggressive, but then just what's happening right now, it's like aggravating that even more. It's almost like if you have a cut and then you put acid or vinegar on a cut, it's going to like sting, and then you're going to start yelling, So it's that's the process,
Oh, that's been me for sure. It definitely was like a me thing. What about me?
Yeah.
And then I guess when it went into Cancer, I kind of was like, why me?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Why won't you just let this be? So, I needed to stop.
Yeah.
When does it stop?
So
You just said
it's
this.
stations
The 23rd?
direct February 23rd. So
Okay.
we only have, two, 3 more weeks left.
Oh my Lord.
But I would say, Mars is starting to come out of some of the more harsher aspects with other planets. It was one of the really intense aspects was right before it switched back into Cancer, it was opposite Pluto.
Okay.
And Pluto is currently in Aquarius, which is kind of like a new place for Pluto to be in. So we're like, kind of in this phase of, discovering like Aquarius is all about the community, technology, the future.
Yes.
And, Pluto is, power, but also, death and destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot like kind of happening in the world. Obviously, there's a lot of changes, but there's also like a great need for community and working together and finding like your people, like your tribe.
Yeah.
So there was like a quite tense alignment, I would say, right before that in the beginning of January. So if you've had a tense beginning of January, that could have been why.
I feel like everyone had a tense beginning of January.
Yeah, me too. So it was quite intense, and it was also like right as the California wildfires were started up, with like literally the day after that tense alignment happened. So it definitely sparked a lot. Pluto being destruction, Mars being literally fire, rules fire. So it's almost like literal.
Yeah, that's
how it
so
happened.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is why astrology fascinates me. Like when I take her classes and she's like, "Oh, this happened and this is what happened in the world," and I'm like, "That's crazy."
Yeah.
Like, that's not coincidence. When I meet people that be like, "I don't believe in this shit," I'm like, "Well, let me tell you
It
about
believes
you."
in you.
I'm like, it believes in you. And then when I be like, "Give me your information," they be like, "Fine." I read them. I read them like a book, and they be like, "Damn, that is me. You have a point." I'm like, "It's not me. It's the stars. It's the planets. I'm just telling you what they say." Like, it's crazy. But yeah, thank you for that. I really needed that for sure.
Course.
More off record. Can't expose myself. Marty wouldn't let me.
No.
Okay, what else do we have to look forward to?
Yes.
So 2025 is definitely like a record-breaking year.
Oh,
it's
God.
like a once-in-a-lifetime type of year.
How I feel about that.
Yeah, wait. Let's hear it first before we react.
Yeah.
The reason is because every planet is changing signs this year within about a year time frame.
Okay.
So, and that is really rare because some of the outer planets take 7, 14 or even 20 years to go through every sign.
Wow.
So the fact that all of them are switching signs this year is pretty rare to have that happen. So we have, first off, we have Pluto went into Aquarius. That's a big deal because Pluto is the slowest moving planet. And it first entered Aquarius back in March of 2023, but only for about 6 weeks or so. We only had like a little tiny stint where Pluto dipped into Aquarius until the first degree and then retrograded back. So that happens usually the 2 years kind of transition. Pluto will go forward and back between the next sign Aquarius and then the previous sign Capricorn. So now Pluto is officially in Aquarius since about November 19th of 2024. So this whole year, and then all the way until January of 2044. So that's like 20 years in the sign. Yeah. So like we're literally entering like with Pluto in Aquarius like a new era, and like we probably have seen it like with AI, with like a lot of the social changes going on, even digital currency and like kind of like how the internet is changing, and there's a lot of like new technologies that are going to be rolling out, and we're seeing like a little bit by bit, but Pluto moves so slowly that it's going to roll out slowly. It's not like it's going to be drastic changes all of a sudden, but it's going to be slow, gradual changes. So, kind of good to anticipate it working slowly, but also, if you're really stubborn, right? Like if you're fixed in your ways, you're going to definitely struggle, the next 20 years. So that's what is also good.
She's talking to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about the Taurus energy. I'm thinking about the Leo energy, the Scorpio energy.
Yeah, that's me. I will say I think I am open to it. I mean, even before you've looked at like my solar return and Saturn returns and stuff, like I was kind of like, I'm anticipating like a change, and I need to be open to it. And she was like, "Oh my God, yeah, I do see it," and I'm like, "Yeah, I just gotta keep that in mind and keep that energy, and just kind of like know that things are gonna happen out of my control, and there's only so much that I can control and change and whatever."
Well, one thing to think about too is, like I said, this is the time to find your community, find your tribe, connect with people. Like the internet is a great place. Like I love that you guys have a podcast, but like that's a great like tool to reach people that are interested in the same things you guys are interested in, like have the same mindset, because that's really how we're gonna thrive, is finding our people, you know, and Aquarius is a very social energy. So that's the whole goal, you know?
And it's so interesting that isn't Aquarius like the rarest sign? Like there's not as many Aquarius.
I believe.
I know, like,
What's crazy
5 of them.
I was gonna say I feel
so
like that
many.
sign. I know the most people with
That's
that
so
sign.
funny.
And I'm like this with all of them. I'm
Yeah.
like, I mean, except the men.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know what it is about the men. I want to pop them a little
it's
bit.
crazy because two of my really good friends, my best friends, they're both Aquariuses. They both have the same birthday, just different years.
Wow.
I was like,
cool.
I really fuck with
Well,
Aquariuses.
you're a
That's
Sagittarius.
crazy. Yeah.
So Sagittarius and Aquarius really get along. They're like besties.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Do you mind moving your mic a little bit
Sure.
closer to your mouth? I want to make sure everyone can hear everything you're saying.
Of
Thank
course.
you. Yeah. I love that. I happened to guess someone's sign. They were like, "Oh, you're really into astrology." I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "You want to guess?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Are you an Aquarius?" They were like, "How the hell did you do that?" I was like, "I don't know." I was right. They're like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's why I love you." You know? Oh my God, it makes me so happy. Like when I meet another Aquarius, I'm like, "Oh my God, we're getting along so well." I don't know what it is about their eclectic, quirky energy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think Aquariuses have a good job at like kind of blending in with the people around them, and they're
Yes.
very good at like connecting. Like that's kind of their domain. Air is about connection, socialization. So I feel like they're able to really connect with their friends.
Yes.
And it literally is the sign of friendship. So of course, like they're gonna form those strong bonds and like be connected. One thing about Aquarius though is I tend to find with people who have their sun in Aquarius tend to have more a harder relationship with their parents, like a little bit more disconnected from them, and then maybe because of that they're more connected to their friends or other people.
So interesting.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, from what I know.
Yeah,
right.
like from the things that I know, yeah,
Absolutely
I can see
agree.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so because they're like opposite Leo. Leo rules like the family and like kind of sense of pride and like loyalty. So like that's those people, Leos, you know, Leo energy tends to be more about their family, about their own kind. Whereas Aquarius are more like, oh, you're different, you're unique, I like you.
Free-spirited kind of
Okay.
thing.
You know,
yeah.
like they're more interested in actual people that are different than them.
Yes.
So that's why they look outside of the family or look outside of their own, you know, community, you know, to find that connection.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
The more you know. I love learning about this, and I'll be like, I know someone who's just like that. Oh my gosh! All right, what's next? What else can we discuss? I mean, what?
Is there another like certain planet going
Yeah.
into a certain
Yes.
sign that's another like
Big one.
whoa, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us, please.
Well, so we have 2 planets going into Aries. So that will be, you know, key for you as
Tell me
someone with
everything.
a lot of
Let me
Aries.
listen. I'm not gonna blink.
So we have Saturn and Neptune going into Aries. So this year, Talisa, is officially your beginning of your Saturn return because you have Saturn and Aries. But we're only going to have like a couple months of it because it'll go back into Pisces. Same with Neptune. So it's just like a little dip into Aries and then a
Yes.
little dip back out, you know, into Pisces. So one thing that's interesting is Aries rules war. It rules aggression, right? It also rules anything that's like a fresh start.
Okay.
So Neptune, it's interesting because Neptune actually rules like the collective, like culture and unconscious energy tends to be more emotional. Like it can connect to like art and music and like the things that are happening. And I heard someone talk about how with like Neptune in kind of like the last phase of Pisces, and like, you know, Pluto was in the last part of Capricorn. There was a lot of kind of like breakdowns with the music industry. I feel like we've seen like a lot of things coming up about that, like changes, right? And so I think actually there's going to be like a new wave of music and like art and like culture that's going to be starting towards like the middle of this year, like the summer. So I would definitely look out for some like, you know, upbeat, you know, kind of Aries is very like, you know, energized, like music and art and like different waves, like culturally, maybe more bold, you know, colors or bold expression. But again, just a general sense of activity that's going to be coming into the heavens. So if you've been feeling, you know, more like, I feel like with COVID, I feel like, you know, everyone was more inside and like internal. I feel like this is the year is going to be like more extroverted. Like everyone's going to be activated in some way and like energized and like ready to start something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So it's like
that.
it's
Yeah.
cool. I
That's
mean,
exciting.
I think it'll be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good for me.
Yeah.
I was reviewing my chart when you were talking.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. I need it to be good, please.
Yeah.
Why? Hold on.
The other good thing that's happening is Jupiter will enter Cancer this year.
Mhm.
Okay.
Which Jupiter's favorite sign to be in is Cancer.
Oh,
okay.
And Jupiter is like the greater benefic, which is like the best planet.
Mhm.
So the fact that the best planet is going to be in its best sign is going to be really good for the collective, but specifically for anything related to the home, the family, and even children or like motherhood could be thriving.
Oh, okay.
So I would say definitely a good year for like, making your garden, tending to your home, doing your home projects, focusing on like your roots, your family, all that stuff. So even though there's a lot of extroverted energy, it's like one of the only planets that will be in a more introverted sign. But it's like in its favorite place. So it's going to be like a nice time to focus on those things.
Looks like it sounds like a good balance.
Yeah.
To be the best planet, best sign with
Yeah.
all the fun happening outside, like being
Yeah.
able to recharge and tend to yourself and
Right.
your home. I like that.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice.
Yeah. I mean, an example. This is my first weekend. Well, actually, that's a lie. I wasn't home. I was gonna be like, "This is my first weekend home." I wasn't even home. What was I doing? Girl, don't ask me. I was at brunch, getting drunk. That's what I was.
I
doing.
was home.
You was
And
home.
I was home, and I was having a great time at home.
I
so.
was like half home, and when I was like, "This is great." And when I was out, I was like, "This is even great." So look at that. Oh man! All right, what's next? What is there to
There's one more planet. Should I
tell?
talk
Okay.
about that?
Yes, please.
Okay, so
Paris.
Uranus is the planet of the collective consciousness, and
Okay.
it's also rules like rebellion and innovation. And it's going to be finishing up between this year and next year in the sign of Taurus. So that should be a relief for you, Taurus. But it's going to be moving into Gemini.
Uh-oh.
And Gemini is the sign of transportation. It's the sign of communications, technology, and even our neighborhood. So there's going to be like a lot of changes technologically, especially, with Pluto also in Aquarius. Like those two together are like, there's going to be big waves in tech this year. Big changes. But again, also good opportunities to connect with other people, to connect with your community, specifically your local community. That will like really thrive this year. So definitely focus on that. But one really interesting thing is the last time Uranus was in Gemini, which was about 80 some years ago, was towards the end of World War II. But also when Donald Trump was born. So
Isn't that
Donald Trump
crazy?
is about to have his Uranus return, which is very interesting because obviously he's president. He's very influential. He's, he has like a big voice and like reach with his, with what he's saying, his message. And that's like going to continue to be a big theme. But it's funny because his sun is conjunct his Uranus. So his ego is very unpredictable. Like
Yes.
Uranus is the planet of sudden, erratic, unpredictable,
Oh God.
like off the wall. So I think, obviously we can anticipate that being a given for
Yeah.
him, but I think we could see that being an even more
Crazier.
exaggerated
Yeah.
effect, especially over the next couple years when he's going through that transit. Something to anticipate, but again, we can only control what we can control, and I like to focus on how we can embody that on a personal scale, like focusing on our what we personally share, what our message is, who we want to connect with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually also interesting because I mean we have big plans for the podcast to have like more reoccurring guests and have more guests in general. So that's like us leading into the community that we have.
Yeah.
Because like it wasn't something I really gave much thought, and then I was like, "Do you want to be on the podcast?" Everyone's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
They're like, "I didn't know that was an option." I was like, "I didn't know either." So
It is
I'll call
now.
you. Yeah, I'm like, I'll call you. And everyone is looking forward to it. So that makes me excited.
I think it's helpful too, like when you realize like you take on something like a podcast or like a business and like you feel so responsible, but then you're like realize like, oh, other people want to be part of this, and like it almost makes it even more fun to like,
Yes.
and more energy brought to it because you're reinventing what you initially thought. And then
yes.
you're able to get that support, and it's just a lot easier to have it
Yes.
be like something that's sustainable for you, you
Mhm.
know?
And then, I mean, this year we started finally doing full video episodes on YouTube. So
Oh, nice.
that's been pretty exciting. I mean, it's only been 2. This is going to be the 3rd.
Yeah.
But
Hi,
it's- everyone-
YouTube.
Hi. Everyone's kind of like, I'm looking over here. I'm right here. Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's exciting. Everyone's like, oh my God, it's on YouTube. I'm like, well, yeah, y'all keep asking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Oh my
awesome.
God.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we're
I love that.
reinventing what we've done. We're making, I don't know, making it bigger, better.
Yeah.
I love that for us. It's exciting. And I look forward to it. It's always a priority for me to enjoy this and have it be good and great and have fun and we all enjoy ourselves. But I think, like, it's a given that I don't give it much thought until recently. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
right, like, we can do more. We can do greater things.
Yeah.
So I look forward to it. You have any questions, Monty, about anything that she says so far?
No.
No, nothing.
I don't know. I'm just kind of like taking it all in,
Yeah.
honestly. Because then I'm like starting to think like, okay, well, what were my plans for this year?
Yeah, I think of that too.
Like when we did like our manifestations.
Yeah, so we
episodes and
talked about
stuff.
manifestations on our first
Yeah.
episode of this year, and we discussed, she wants to hike more, meet people out in
Yeah.
In
meet
real
people
life.
in the wild.
not just also on
Yeah.
social media, but in the wild. So
Girl,
that's
Yeah.
kinda
I'm
funny.
your girl.
Yeah, she
I
hikes.
love hiking.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
I actually, with my website, we do like astro walks. So
Okay.
we like, have like a day, time, like place, and we meet up and walk together. And like,
okay.
we'll casually talk about like what's going on astrologically.
Yeah.
So I'll invite you next time.
Yeah.
We're working
Oh my
on
gosh,
setting
that's
up a
awesome.
few.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I
Awesome.
guess I'll go to one too.
Yeah,
I had
you have
FOMO.
to.
I know. I was supposed to go to one, and then I didn't. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, that was
That's
my
okay.
bad. I will do better. Yeah,
But anytime, I love to hike. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and I
feel
would
like
like to get
that's
into it. It's just something nice to do. It's grounding
Yeah.
for me. Like,
oh yeah.
I think as a person, as a Taurus, like I need to ground myself more. That's something I
Yeah.
don't do. Like I literally
Mhm.
live in the basement.
Yeah.
That's as grounding as it gets for
Yeah,
me.
really.
Yeah.
But I need to also do it outside.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I
feel
mean?
like for me, like I don't know if this goes with being like Sagittarius or not, but I feel
Yeah.
like I want to go out into the
Yes.
world more,
Yeah.
and I feel like I haven't done enough. So this year, I was like, as someone who doesn't really like, I don't want to say I don't like nature because it's not what I mean, but like
Yeah.
I don't.
You're not outdoorsy.
I'm not very outdoorsy.
Yeah.
But this year I was like, no, like I want to hike. Like I want to
Yeah.
start getting in touch with like nature and things like that. So I
Yeah.
was like, I'm just gonna do it.
I
And-
love that.
Yeah.
I am a Sag rising. So
Okay.
when I go on my hikes, I always think like, oh, this is my little mini adventure of the day. And even if it's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, like I feel like I just try to like go and see and explore and find something new I've never
Yeah.
seen before and just like be in that mindset. Like I feel
Mhm.
like the mindset is more so than the actual walking.
Yes.
Like you could go outside and just like sometimes I take photos, but like
Mm-hmm.
I just like to observe nature. And I
Yeah.
feel like, you can really get that sense of grounding and like connection and like all the benefits just by like having a very casual, mindful walk and not
Mhm.
really focusing on the exercise or the movement
Yeah.
as much as just the grounding and like the mindfulness aspect.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like one of the first things my therapist ever suggested. She was like, I suggest you go on walks so you can be more present. I did it twice and I was like, yeah, I ain't doing that again. I wasn't present. I was anxious. I was like,
Yeah, I
dogs
mean-
are barking.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah.
weird men out here on the street. I'm not doing this shit.
Yeah.
Not thinking I could just go hiking.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that
I mean, I
until
think
right
it's
now.
yeah, it's definitely different walking in your neighborhood and like walking around something that's familiar than going to a place that is obviously like the only thing you can really do there is,
Yes.
is walk and be in nature. Like it's
Mhm.
almost like forces you to let go of like all the busyness,
Mhm.
of like your day or like whatever else planning,
Yeah.
your meal or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and just enjoy. So
Yeah, because I definitely have a tough time being present in the moment unless all of my senses are
Being like.
engaged.
Yeah.
Yes. Like talking to somebody one-on-one in silence, torture.
Yeah.
I love you. It's still torture for me. 'Cause I'm like, you're talking, and it's like, wah, 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 wah,
Yeah.
wah, wah, and I'm like, I need music. I need the
Mhm.
TV
That's the
on.
Gemini in you.
Is it? The stimulation? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
you need-
also the ADHD. but-
Yeah.
It's
That's
absolutely
the Gemini. in you.
Yeah, definitely. The Gemini's the ADHD right now for sure. And like
Yeah.
dating romantically, like I try to tell people this. I'm like, it's not even that I don't respect you as a person or find you interesting.
Mhm.
I need a second focus. I need something else
Mm.
to force me to give you all of my attention.
Mm.
And they get really sensitive when I'm like, let me look at my phone real quick. And they're like, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not you, it's me. But anyway, we're not gonna get into that. That's off the record. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but yeah, I definitely would like to do hiking as well too. We talked about the podcast doing bigger, better things, being more like consistent and having more fun with it. I mean, we always have fun, but like, I don't know, being like, oh my god, we've never thought to do this. So now that we have the visual aspect, we can like play games and do more things that way.
Yeah.
I manifested. I want a boyfriend. Hello. I have him. I got him. Just,
Yeah.
you know, I said, I reminded myself I had to manifest that he want me too. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn.
You have to be very
Yeah,
specific.
I think I've made that mistake before of like manifesting a guy but not being specific enough. I'm
Yeah.
like, manifest a guy that has money, you know? And then I did, but then it wasn't legal money. So I'm like, all right,
Shit.
next time I gotta write that in the fine print, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
God,
Like I literally
that's
all,
amazing.
all the things I wanted in someone.
Yeah.
Let's be real here. I'll be vulnerable. I found.
Yeah.
But I didn't say he needs to be prepared for me. He needs to
Yeah.
be open to be with me. That's the part I didn't say. And I'm like,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. So the universe will answer.
They're
But
like, that's what you wanted.
You gotta be really really know your intention and like
Mhm.
really know exactly what you want and be specific, because
Yeah.
if you don't, you won't get it exactly the way you need it,
And
you know?
I feel like he was ready and I was like, hold on. And now I'm like, I'm ready. He's like, hold on. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's the Libra. Back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, we're going to talk off record. Don't worry about it. That's synastry. Let's talk about synastry.
Okay.
Tell us what synastry is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this. It's something that's not also just romantic. It could be in friendships, familial relationships, all that stuff. Tell us what synastry is.
So synastry is kind of like our way of like saying like who's compatible or like what's your chemistry like with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say synastry is like a pretty complex topic just because, you know, every person has multiple planets in their chart. They have all the signs of the zodiac. And so everyone's, you know, chart is going to be so unique
Yes.
to them. So there's a lot of factors that are always going to, you know, go into, is this person compatible with this person, right?
Mhm.
And I find it is hard to say a black or white, like yes or no. It's more so like, okay, this planet is going to enjoy their planet, you know, and like there's going to be a mix. And, you know, these factors might be more tricky, but as long as you can work hard, you know, and sacrifice, you'll be able to make it work. So the basic idea of synastry is we can kind of go all the way back to the elements. So there's 4 elements. Do you guys know what the 4 elements are? Air, water, earth, and fire. Okay.
We all said it different. That's all
Yeah,
right.
there you go.
You got it.
You got
I had
it.
to think of
You got it.
Avatar?
though. Yeah, Avatar.
I know. I was
Think
like,
of Avatar.
water, fire, earth,
Yeah.
air.
So at its most basic level, fire likes fire. Obviously, you know, if you
Yeah.
put fire and fire together, it makes more fire.
Mhm.
But fire also likes air. So they are compatible in element, right? Because think of like on a fire, you know, if you blow some air, it's going to make the fire bigger, right?
Mhm.
And so
Okay.
obviously it's like going to be a compatible element. So fire tends to be more extroverted, you know, more outgoing, but like more the energy, you know, like
Mhm.
the life of the party is
Yeah.
the fire. And then the air people are very social. So they like to be around fire energy because they like that, you know, stimulation,
Yep.
right? That mental stimulation. So that goes well together. And then the other 2, earth and water, they're definitely denser, they're heavier in nature, right? Earth is very steady, and then water is also physical, right? But it's movable.
Mhm.
Earth and water, when you put those together, they make mud. Mud is like the source of all life, right? Think of
Yes.
how plants grow from the mud, right? So earth and water energy tends to go well together.
Okay.
So signs that are within the same element naturally always are compatible, and then signs that are the same like extrovert or introvert, you know, so fire and air are extrovert, masculine energy, and then earth and water are feminine, introvert energy. So they tend to go well. So that's like a basic, synastry. And then the other factor is the modality. Now, the modality relates to the time of year that sign typically falls in. So the cardinal signs all begin the season. So that's Aries begins spring, Cancer begins summer, Libra begins fall, and Capricorn begins winter. Now, all of those cardinal energy are like the leaders or the boss. So if you have a planet in Aries, but then you also have, someone else has a planet in Cancer, they're actually going to conflict a lot because, Aries is fire. And so their way of leading is through action, but Cancer's way of leading is through emotion. And so that is going to just naturally conflict. What happens when you put fire and water together, right?
Yeah.
Like the fire is going to go out.
Yeah.
So they're not going to mix well. And then same with the fixed signs. So that would be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. They're going to have a more challenging time. Fixed signs tend to be more stubborn and stuck in their nature. And so if you have a bunch of stubborn energy coming together, it's going to be really hard to compromise that, right?
Yeah.
Because you're very fixed in the way you see things. And then the mutable, I would say they're not as clashing, but what happens with mutable energy, so that's Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, they are the more like movable, flaky type of energy, but that tends to be very wishy-washy. Like when those types of people mix, it's like they don't have a stable ground, and so they change their mind too much, and like it can get kind of toxic in that way, like where it's just like, motions flying this way and that way, not being able to be consistent, and so that can be more tricky to like have those planets interacting, So you can actually have all of that happen with just in your own chart.
Good Lord.
Like you can have that dynamic going on, and then just, then add another person. That's why, relationships are hard, is because sometimes it's hard to just it's just hard to live by yourself sometimes.
Yeah. When I explain like big three to men, they were like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, well, I'll give an example, right? I'm a Taurus sun, Virgo moon, Libra rising. I like to say I have 2 feet on the ground but my head in the clouds because Libra is an air sign. So I often I overthink a decision, but also the Virgo wants it to be the perfect decision, and the Taurus is my son is like, bitch, just make the decision. It's a lot of conflicting just in here, and that's just my big three.
And that's why it's complicated, because like you have your big three, but that's like, again, just the surface level. Then you have Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, like all of these other planets influence how we are interacting with our partner, our friends, our business partner, our family members, like literally anyone.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
So so then I guess my question is, like, obviously when you're young and you have a crush, you'd be like, Talisa, Taurus, and then you'd be like,
compatibility test.
You'd be like, Carl, I don't fucking know, Cancer, and it's like compatibility 72%.
Yeah.
So it's like, right? It's obviously not just sun, but like, what are some synastry things that like make a good match? Like, what's obviously not to get too complicated, but like, what are some things there that like are not good to look for?
Yeah.
Obviously you told us like what if you're the same modality, that gets a little tricky, but
well, it's so complicated, but I would say each planet is going to bring something different to the table, right? So like the sun is more so your ego, personality. So that is, again, most people know what their sun sign is. That's a good place to start. You know? See if your sun, your egos, your personalities mix well, right? The next step I would say is look at your moon. Your moon is about your emotions, right? How you feel on the inside, but also moon relates to your home and family. That's a big thing, especially in a relationship. Like the moon sign could actually show, okay, like what was this their childhood like? How do they deal when things are difficult? How do they deal with their emotions? How do they deal with conflict, right? So like someone who has a moon in Aries, they're gonna be a fighder. They're gonna leave. They're gonna be a runner as soon as things get hot, right?
I'm a runner. I'm a track star.
On the other end, moon in Libra, they're gonna want to bond with you. They're gonna want to stick together, and they might not. know boundaries well enough.
Mhm.
Like they might, have blurred boundaries, right?
Okay.
So
Let me give an example.
yeah.
So Virgo moon, what's that?
So
And then I got another one.
yeah. So Moon in Virgo is like Virgo is Earth, right? Mutable Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and so you need things to like. It's you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Shocker.
need things to line up a certain way in order for you to feel emotionally secure. Like you need, everything in its place.
Did you hear that?
And it might.
Did you hear that?
No. Tell me again. I'm listening.
Okay. you need you need order and you need like efficiency in order to feel good, right? But when you don't have that, that's very dysregulating for you, right? So it's all about like I think
Yes.
of Virgo as like, the way that you stack things up or the way you line things up or the way you create your schedule week to week
Yes.
is really going to influence you.
Yes.
As well as like your day-to-day movements, like
Yes.
what you do XYZ throughout your day is going to affect you.
It does every damn day. So then here's the question.
Yeah.
What does a Leo moon do?
So Leo moon, Leo is ruler of the sun, which is like the ego, the pride, So Leo moons can be very like, very prideful in their emotional body. I would say Leo moons want a sense of stability because they are that fixed sign.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say they're always going to be like emotional. They strive to have a steadiness, but then when they do get emotional, they can be loud. Like think of the lion.
Yes.
Right? Like roar.
Yes.
So when they get upset, that's going to be like all hell's, breaking loose with the Leo energy. So
yeah, I've seen it.
yeah. So I would say like on the surface level, they seem to be calm, cool, collected. They enjoy, expressing themselves. They enjoy things that are like fun, entertaining, like games, anything that's like going to stimulate them.
Yes.
In a again a fire sense. So like bring up their energy. They enjoy that. But again, it can be tricky when other people challenge them. That could affect their ego.
That's
you know
me.
what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah.
it digs inside them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that's the lack of stability and they freak out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, you're not making it efficient for me and providing that structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got me. Anyway, enough about that. Okay. So then you said the sun looking at the moon. What's another one that you would want to look at?
So I would go, Mercury is kind of like, I would say more neutral, but it's definitely good to look at with synastry because Mercury is the way you communicate. So, you want to make sure that your communication style is heard, right? Like some people are more quiet the way they communicate or more passive, right?
Yes.
And sometimes that might work between people, but if you're a very straightforward person in the way you talk, it's going to feel really, weird to talk to someone who's like more goes around the topic or like, beating around the bush type of person, right? So communication obviously is big in relationships. And then next, Venus, Mars. Venus is your love language. So I think of like the gifts that you give and like, all of the more like girly kind of emotional energy that you might give in a relationship. So I often think of like Venus as like your love language, like how you want to give love, how you want to receive love.
Mine's yapping.
Yeah. So
you just have to stimulate me. Yap. And I'm like, got it.
Yeah, mine is just mine has always been like quality time, like just spending time together.
Yeah.
It's never been like we could literally just be sitting in the same room, like not even talking to each other, but just being together.
Yeah, that's like enough
That's
for you.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I love that too. Like stimulating it obviously romantically is it takes it to another level, but even like yapping over dinner with a friend like really solidifies that for me.
Yeah.
As a Venus and Gemini, I'm just like, you see me, I see you. Let's talk about it. Like let's debrief. Let's talk about our dreams and blah blah blah. Like I love that. It makes me feel like, oh my God, we're the same person. Like I don't know, I love it.
Yeah. And then Mars is the masculine energy.
Yeah,
so
girl,
that's
I have
more...
the most masculine energy. I am my father's daughter.
Yeah. But like think of like, you're pursuing someone.
Yes.
Mars is the pursuit. right? Venus is like, oh, I'm gonna sit here like a princess and wait for you. That's Venus's role, and Mars is like, I'm gonna go after you. Like this is what I find attractive. This is what I'm like turned on by.
Oh
That's
my
Mars.
God. Yeah.
That's Mars.
So I feel like for me it's conflicting because I have a Venus in Gemini, which is an air sign, correct?
Yep.
And then my Aries is fire.
Your Mars is in Aries.
My Mars is in Aries. Yeah. I feel like I've never truly pursued anyone until recently. Yeah. And even me, I'm like, what kind of behavior? What am I doing? What am I saying?
Aries is independent though.
Yes.
So you're like, and your 7th house is Aries as well. So like, I feel like you're naturally independent. You're naturally like a go-getter on your own.
Yes.
So you have to kind of be able to mesh like the Mars, which is like the action in Aries, right? Like doing things on your own, being spontaneous is also another big thing with Aries.
Yes.
But Gemini complements that well. Like Gemini is very spontaneous, it's very social. It's like, oh, let's go to this place or let's go to that place. So I think like within yourself, like you have a good pairing. Yes. It's just like finding someone that matches that and brings that out, which you need someone that's very outgoing to like kind of match that energy, you know?
Do I want to ask on air? Fuck it, yeah. So then what pairs well with that? Or is an example?
Like Mars and Aries,
yes.
Venus and Gemini.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I would say like someone who is a Gemini, I could see that working out because again, like you're naturally attracted to someone who's going to be more talkative, more social. Aquarius would also work because
I don't want to hear that, but yeah, I'll take it.
Aquarius would work because, you know, Aquarius is also air. But, you know, air would go well with, you know, fire and air, obviously. Yes. But again, it depends. Like, sometimes Aquarius can be a little bit aloof or a little bit detached. So, like, even that, like that as an air connection, even though that is on paper a good connection, I would say that might not actually work with your Taurus energy, right? Which is very like sentimental, you know, and very like attached. Like, yes, Taurus is actually more like obsessed and attached than Scorpio can be.
I've learned that recently, like with my TikTok search. Yeah, and I also am experiencing that myself, and I'm like, that's not me. I didn't know I was like that because it doesn't really showcase in my friendships. I never thought, because I'm like, oh my God, all my friends are my best friends, and we all get along with it. But when it's a romantic relationship, I'm like, that's mine. Why aren't you over here? And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. I'm surprised at myself every day. I'm like, who is that? Who am I? Yeah. Yeah, I don't like Aquarius. They don't... I mean, I only have one experience. That was enough. It was traumatizing in that he was very aloof and very detached. And I felt like I had to over-explain myself to be like, why it matters to me. And they would not get it. And mind you, I only knew his son. I know the rest because I wasn't as interested then. Oh, sorry. I keep squeaking the chair. But, yeah. I don't know about your signs.
Trying to think what else. I mean, it's hard to say like what's one sign because really, like synastry, you have to put their two full charts together. To,
I got it really here, babe. Don't worry about it. We talk about it off air. It's just, and again, I feel like I like learning about synastry. It's so interesting to see like, oh yeah, this makes sense as to why. And even knowing a chart in general, like I realize that a lot of my close friends have Virgo moons, and I'm like, this is why we like get each other. And then I think we have like the same Lilith sign, like 3 of us did, and I was like, this is why we get each other. Like that's crazy. Yeah. It just like affirms what you already know, which I like. Yeah. I love that. So synastry, speaking of synastry, let's talk about celebrities.
Oh yeah.
Enough about me.
Yeah. I'm excited. Yeah. I'll pull out some charts.
Pull it out, girl. I'm excited. I want to know their business.
Yeah, so I love when I see like a headline and like something going on, like I always look up their chart and like see what's going on, like what transits are activated right now, you know, what's going on for them. So do you guys want to name a celebrity couple that we could start with?
Who do you want to start with? Go ahead, Madi, you pick. I've done enough talking.
Let's start with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
Let's start hot.
We'll save the
We're
other
starting
one
hot.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got Ryan Reynolds. His sun is at 0 degrees Scorpio. His moon is at 3 degrees Scorpio.
Oh.
He's got Mercury, Libra, Venus in Sag, Mars in Scorpio. So it's like Scorpio,
Holy
Scorpio,
cow.
Jupiter in Taurus. So he's got a lot of like with the, you know, the Taurus, the Scorpio. He's got Saturn in Leo. He's very fixed, very stubborn. Scorpio energy likes to be in control. They like to be in power, you know, have power. They're very possessive, right? And I feel like that could, I don't know the full drama, but I feel like he's kind of running the show, or like, you know, he's part of the lawsuit and all that. And,
Absolutely.
you know, like the backbone.
I feel like
of
it was his idea.
Yeah.
From like
so
what we know.
I could definitely see that being strong for him, is that he needs to be in control. Maybe this is a moment where he's out of control, and so he's, you know, compensating, or, you know, he's muscling, you know. His ascendant is Virgo. Now that's interesting because Virgo is the perfectionist, right? So he can be very critical.
Yes.
He
does give that energy.
He might even be critical of himself more than he portrays it to be. Like very perfectionist, very like almost anal about him, you know, about his own work, about who he is.
Yes.
So that is very strong for him.
That's why he's very, like, his humor is very self-deprecating, I feel like.
Yeah.
He's like, I get to make the joke before anyone else makes it.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Makes sense.
Not a psychoanalyzing Ryan Reynolds.
I know.
I love it.
Interesting.
Now, and he was a new moon, okay, because he has sun and moon, same sign. Moon in Scorpio is also very challenging placement.
Yeah.
Because your emotions are in this deep, intense place. So that adds to even all of the Scorpio energy, but it like permeates deep into his emotional body, which can be really intense to deal with.
Ooh.
Now, Blake Lively.
He is intense.
Yeah.
Like, even him being funny.
Right. Like, I feel like he
intense.
tries to give off a very, like, nonchalant, like, oh, I'm just a funny guy.
He's trying
He's
too hard.
trying to, but that's not
Who said that he's, like, not funny in real life? Some older actress said it, that they were like, oh, he's not naturally funny. He acts funny. Somebody said that about him, and I was like, I don't remember.
Yeah, he's got his Venus in Sag, Mercury in Libra. Mercury in Libra, I could see being like a faker. You know what I mean? Because like Libra is very like, oh, I want to look charming. I want to be like, I want to be a smooth talker. Like, it's like the way he communicates and like interacts with the world. He wants to appear to be like very peaceful, but then all that Scorpio energy is like turmoil. You know, like internal turmoil. So, yeah, he's got a lot. And then Blake is almost just as intense, but she's got Virgo. So Virgo Sun, Virgo Moon, Virgo Mercury, Virgo Venus, Virgo Mars.
Holy
That
crap.
is a lot. And I would say
is a lot.
Yeah. And the one that to me is the worst of all of these is Venus in Virgo, because Venus it's at its most debilitated place in Virgo, because Venus is all about love and beauty, right? And harmony. Virgo is very critical. So again, it's very critical of other people, very critical of herself. So she probably, very similar to Ryan, like very self-conscious. She probably is very like...
So they're both very insecure.
Yeah. I would say that they probably struggle with that deep down. I mean, in terms of them having compatibility, they're definitely like, they're almost like very complementary to each other. But sometimes when you put too much of the same thing in the same room, it aggravates the negative qualities of that.
Yes.
Like it's almost
it amplifies the negative aspects.
Yeah. It's like they enable each other.
Yes.
That's exactly how I see it. So, yeah, I mean, she's got a Leo rising, which is very like ego, you know, very prideful. So she likes to be the center of attention. She's got her sun also in the first house. So like she craves that, you know, she literally needs that people to look at her. She needs like that attention to thrive. Like
that's why she does so well like at the Met Gala, because all the attention's on her. She's a board member or one of the directors or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, even before all this came to light, like it was always a joke on the internet that like Ryan can get his hands off her because she was always pregnant.
Yeah.
But like that's also maybe a way of like sense of control, where it feeds her ego to be so wanted that way and to make her a mother if that's something she really enjoys.
Yeah.
But then for him to also be in the limelight and having her at home with the children.
Yeah.
Very interesting couple. Indeed.
Very interesting.
Interesting. Okay.
Who's next?
All right, who's next?
Gonna do Justin Bieber?
I would love to do Justin
Let's do it.
Bieber.
We're gonna do that for you, girl.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with Justin Bieber.
I've had right here on repeat for the longest.
Really?
Yeah, him
With
and Drake. I'm
Drake?
like, oh, in the car,
Mm.
jamming, girl. I've been
Love it.
jamming.
So I'm a believer. I've been for life, but I've always been keeping tabs on Justin, and obviously recently there's been a lot in the news, like
Yes.
talking about divorce and like on the rocks, and he unfollowed Haley for a minute, and then he
Yeah.
refollowed Haley, and then he's
That's
like
crazy.
unfollowing his old management, like the
Ooh.
Diddy thing, and like everything.
God.
Like I
Yeah,
feel
there's
like
a lot
so
going
much
on.
is coming up for him, and like he's in the news. And I thought about, he's going through his Saturn return. He has
Mhm.
Saturn in Pisces. He also is a Pisces. So, like, his sun is in Pisces. So, this is very much a personal, like, journey he's
Mhm.
on. It's just he is a public figure. So, obviously, it's, like, going to be publicized.
Mm-hmm.
He also has Venus in Pisces, which complicates it because Venus is your relationship. So, I think that also is a significant because with Saturn moving over his relationship planet, that's going to be a really major test. So I wouldn't really be surprised if they have a breakup or go through something very public about like some sort of relationship turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that he can make it through, but I could see that happening like for him in the next year, with
Yeah.
Saturn finishing that transit in Pisces. Another interesting thing I've noticed is like he keeps posting him like smoking marijuana.
Mhm.
Like I feel like he's going through like a deeper emotional process right now, and like Pisces also rules like escapism, and it also like rules like religion. He's very religious.
Mhm.
Yes.
So I imagine he's going through like not only just a relationship but like a personal battle of like how much do I indulge in this, and
Yes.
like
Mhm.
finding the boundary and then finding the faith and like being able to work through like the hard deep emotional
Yeah.
process and figuring out that balance. So I
And
think
him
that's
and Haley like met through church.
yeah.
He
Mhm.
went really heavily into his faith after him and Selena on and off, and
Yeah.
then they got together and are like devout in their faith, which is like
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
interesting for all that to be like you said. It's a really personal, deep thing for him to like I don't know reflect.
Yeah.
That's really interesting for sure. I only know all that because of the Selena and Haley drama that was on my TikTok. Because do you think I know anything about them? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Now Haley, she has her Venus in Libra, which I think is interesting. He has his moon in Libra.
Okay.
So I feel like they have that Libra connection, which really like they both are almost codependent. Like
Yep.
her relationship style, like she needs to be connected to him. Like
Mm-hmm.
she relies on him in such a heavy way, and him emotionally relies on her. So I feel like again, it's like, yeah, I could see them working out because of that, but I also it's like sometimes codependency, it doesn't work out because
Right.
you're not able to like know who you are without the other person, and that can be a real detriment, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that can be kind of tricky. And really the rest of her chart, it's really interesting because I wouldn't say is like directly compatible with his. Like she has her sun in Sagittarius, Mercury in Sagittarius, so she's more, very fun. Like I could see, she likes to hang out with her friends, like be
Yeah.
outgoing.
Mhm.
He can be more introverted, like wanting to stay home, very
That's
Pisces,
why you don't
very
always
recluse.
see them together. I
Yeah.
feel like
So it's like
Yeah.
I
she's
don't know.
always doing her own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I see that why they're like that,
Mm-hmm.
But I know he has Mercury and Mars in Aquarius. So he also likes to be around a lot of people. Maybe he has a lot of different friend groups. He likes to be around like interesting, unique people.
Yeah, I feel like I see that about
Yeah.
him. Like he likes to pop in like the most random
Yeah.
And you were
groups
like,
of
"Is that
people. And
Bieber?"
you're like Justin
Yeah.
Bieber. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
How he know them?
Right.
You know,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. He's like kind of random. She's like more so like life of the party type of energy. Like she likes, she likes to have a good time, like have an adventure. She probably likes to travel a lot. So that's like really strong for her. I mean, obviously, I think any like pairing could work out, but it's almost like you have to learn how to relate to yourself first.
Yes.
And like love yourself
Mhm.
and love the complexities of who you are before
Yeah.
you're able to fully mesh with another person. And I feel like his whole like childhood, even before fame, you know, growing up single mom, like without his dad, like that's pretty intense, just that alone. And then his whole young, you know, childhood, teenagehood, young adult life has been in this like
Spotlight.
intense bubble. Yeah, spotlight, you know.
Yep.
That like almost nobody makes it out, you know, well.
Unscathed, definitely not.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot, you know.
Yeah. No, he been
I just have
through it.
compassion for him.
I feel
I
it.
just love him.
I've known a couple beeper heads back in my day,
Yeah,
and I'd be like, I
I get
respect
it.
him because
Yeah.
of you. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't
I get
care, you know. And I'm like, damn, no, you're right. He been through a lot.
Yeah. I mean, compared to like most other celebrities, like there's probably like a handful that have been through some of the experiences he's been through, but like almost no one else on the planet has ever been through those
Yeah.
experiences. So that
know.
by itself could feel so isolating.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I imagine that, you know, he's a human too. I feel like, you know, it's like hard to like see the human in all these celebrities because we like just observe them, we talk about them, like you know, it's easy for us to like speculate and like hate on them, but
yeah.
at the end of the day, you know, they're going through a human experience just like the rest of us.
Just
so
you know, under the microscope.
yes,
Right, yeah.
exactly.
Oh my god, he unfollowed her. Oh my god, he followed her again.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he double tapped Selena's photo. Oh my god, you know, like Jesus Christ, leave him alone, please. I'm about to be under the blanket, like leave Brittany alone. Oh my god. I mean, I like talking about the juicy stuff, but still, I'm kind of like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I talk about me first before I ever talk about a celebrity. You see me put my shit out there for who? For 3 people to hear. So, let's talk about Tom and Zendaya.
Okay.
Oh wait, was there another one we wanted to do before
that
that?
was it.
All right, we want to end happy, romantic.
Yeah,
we want to have
hopefully.
faith
Okay.
because
All
we
right.
love them.
So Tom Holland, he has his sun in Gemini, moon in Sag. So that means he was actually born on a full moon. So when you have your
so
sun and moon
cute.
opposite, you're a full moon.
Oh, that's
Love that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I like that.
So yeah, so like, you know, he's probably pretty confident in himself. You know, Gemini is like talker, right? Like so very intellectual. Sag is, you know, very adventurous, so very fun, very outgoing. He's got Mercury in Taurus, so, you know, he's very, like, rudimentary the way he talks. Like, he's very, you know, kind of maybe slow, but, like, very thorough in the way he thinks, the way he talks. So that's good. It's grounding. He also has Mars in Taurus, so that's good. Venus in Gemini, so adding with the sun there. But his Venus is retrograde. Now, that's interesting. Venus retrograde is not the easiest to be born under because that tends to be, like, you know, you have relationship cycles throughout your life. Relationships are going to be like a big test, big turning points. Now let's look at Zendaya's just to compare here. All right, so Zendaya, she has her sun in Virgo, moon in Taurus. So she's already off the bat very earthy, very grounded.
Yes.
So I
we
think
get that vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it goes well with the Taurus energy. He has Mercury and Mars in Taurus. So I feel like that they probably like work well together on that end. They're very like they like things that are stable, consistent. They're good with their money. You know, they're maybe gonna spend money, but they're also gonna save money. Like they're, you know what I mean? Like they're
you saw that big old rock.
Yeah, for real. He saved up for that.
Engagement ring is allegedly what, $200,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
You can see that from outer space, girl.
Yeah.
Me and who?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's definitely giving like luxury, but also smart. Like they're not gonna like spend everything and go broke. They're gonna be like investing.
Yes.
And then like really value like quality things, you know?
Yes.
So that's nice. I like that. She's got a Mercury in Libra. So that makes her, you know, like the way she talks, maybe she's a little not as direct. And I could see that working okay with his Mercury in Taurus because they're both ruled by Venus. They don't really like to like conflict too much. So they're very peaceful the way they communicate with each other naturally. She has Venus and Mars in Cancer. So I really love Venus in Cancer just because they're very like warm, sentimental. Like the way they love is very like motherly, very homey. Her Mars is in Cancer, which Mars is retrograde in Cancer right now. So it's interesting. When did they get engaged? Do you guys know? Was it recent?
It was last month.
last
Like
month.
the
Yeah.
beginning, because they had like
Well,
the
that's when-
BAFTAs or something. That's when they
Yeah,
announced it.
that's
at
when
least.
she showed up wearing a ring.
Yeah.
They
So-
probably did it around the holidays, like
Maybe,
Christmas
yeah.
or something. I
But
think.
it was
Yeah.
recent.
I wonder if they, with Mars retrograde, that if they've been like planning this for a while, or if they've like, I don't know, like we're going to get engaged and then didn't, and then like did it, like they executed it
Mhm.
now, you know, like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if there was something on the rocks there, like I'm not too
Well,
sure of their relationship.
He
but
went through like a whole sobriety thing, didn't he?
He went through like a
drinking thing?
sobriety thing, and now he has a business where he sells non-alcoholic
beer.
Oh, okay.
So that had like its launch and the holidays, and she
Yeah.
really values like family time.
Yeah.
We talk like we know them.
I know, right? Like I
Yeah.
can call her up on the phone.
I'm
I'm
like,
like, yeah,
you guys
babe.
know
So
that.
when did he pop the question?
Yeah.
You know, yeah,
What I like about their charts is that they do have a lot of complementary energy, but they also have different energies. So I feel like they, as like a unit, like will be able to accomplish all the things of life. You know, like maybe
Yes.
she'll be like good with the home and the family. Like she's kind of like good at organizing, like very, you know, like detail oriented.
Mhm.
And then he's more so like bringing the energy, bringing the spark, you know, maybe making the money, you know, kind of being more active. Obviously, they probably both make money, you know,
yeah.
they both provide in that way. But like, I could see him being more like the active, like lead, and her being a little bit more like following, but like leading her own domain. If that makes
Yes,
sense.
and they
Yeah,
already
it's a-
kind of carry
yeah.
that energy. Like even when they're together and it's her in the spotlight, he lets her
he
have
steps
that.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's recording,
Right.
taking pictures. He's far behind them, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it's his turn, like she's there
She's the
too. But
same
again, he
way.
also has the spotlight as well. Like
Yeah.
they really respect like their stardom and their careers and endeavors, which is like so cute, and I adore them and I
Yeah.
love them.
Yeah, it's like just looking at their sun, moon. Oh, let me look at their rising real quick. But just looking at their sun and moon, like off the bat, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting pairing. But then you have to kind of go deeper. Like their Mercury, Venus, Mars, I think shows a deeper story
Mhm.
Mhm.
because those planets are very compatible with each other.
Mm.
And I find that that can even be more important in a relationship than, you know, just your big three.
Yes,
Yeah.
Actually.
yes.
Um,
I agree, girl. Because when I got that synastry chart, 17 pages, I said, "Oh, this already confirmed what I
17
knew."
pages.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Tom Holland, from what I'm looking at, his time is not listed, so I don't think we could find the rising. But hers is Aquarius rising,
Ooh.
so that makes her 7th house, her relationship house, in the sign of Leo,
Mm-hmm.
and her sun is in her 7th house of Leo. So you know she actually needs a relationship to thrive. Like when someone has their sun in their 7th house, it's like
Mhm.
their energy, their vitality, their ego, their personality comes out in a relationship. So
Okay.
being like bonded is actually something that's probably very comfortable for her
Okay.
and like kind of what she
Mm.
needs to like find herself to like fully like feel fulfilled in her
Mhm.
life.
I like that, and I
Yeah.
can see that because I feel like since they've been together, like
yeah.
I don't know, she's just getting better and better. Like
Yeah.
you like all her right. Like I think what perfume did she do with Anne Hathaway? I don't remember what perfume, but like she's done ad campaign for a perfume. Was it Bulgari?
It might be. I don't know.
I'm making this shit up. I don't even know.
Yeah.
But like everyone's always like, oh my god, Zendaya's always in the spotlight. But like she's only been in a few movies, but like that's been happening frequently.
yeah.
Like since their relationship. Now she's gonna be in the Odyssey.
Yeah.
That
He's also gonna be in.
he's
that.
gonna be in that too, which is pretty exciting. That's like their like
I'm
5th
excited
movie
for that,
together.
'cause I like that.
They
Yeah.
excited too, the birds. And like they did Spider-Man together. Like I don't know, they're just so great, and I can see that. Like,
yeah.
but it's again, it's not like a codependency kind of thing. Like you said, she just feels more fulfilled and is able to like thrive in that aspect because they're bonded.
Yeah.
That's so cute. I love them.
We're rooting for them.
Always rooting for them. Oh, I went to Dua Lipa and Callum Turner, but that's fine. Zendaya and Tom
You
Holland
want
were
me to
enough.
look him up?
Yeah, please. I'm curious. Because they're adorable. They're always
Mhm.
like, you saw them dance under the Eiffel Tower?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you see me on the street laying there sad in the rain? I'm in the back. I was there.
And then so Dua Lipa, and then who else?
Callum
Callum
Turner.
Turner.
Callum. What has he been in?
He's been in. Wasn't he in? He wasn't in Challenge. No.
Why I think it's not him.
It's not him.
I don't
What
think
was
so. Let's
he
see what
in?
things I haven't seen
Well,
yet.
I saw him in a movie, The Boys in the Boat. I think.
Oh, I
saw
haven't
him-
seen that.
I saw him in that. That was actually a very good movie.
Girl, he's in things I've never seen. Oh, he was in Fantastic Beasts.
Yes.
I don't know who he was. Oh, he was in Emma. I still haven't seen that. sidebar, I saw Past Lives this weekend.
Did you cry?
Girl. That was me. You could have called me Nosferatu the way I was. Girl, it was bad. Anyway, continue.
Okay, so Dua Lipa, she is a Leo sun, Cancer moon. So both the sun is ruled by Leo, the moon is ruled by Cancer.
Oh my
so
God,
that's a
perfect.
natural placement for her. She's got Mercury in Virgo. Mercury rules Virgo.
Look at that.
She's got some well-dignified planets, Venus and Leo, so she's a queen. She's got her sun and Venus exactly together, the same exact degree.
Oh, wow.
So when that happens, it says that the planet is combust, or like the planet is kind of going through this like rebirth renewal process. So she's probably, I wonder, was she like going through something? Was she a big hit last summer? Not this past summer, 2024, but 2023.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
it was like Levitating. What was the other song?
Yeah.
Houdini.
I
She had
feel
an
like she had a
album come
couple
out,
songs.
and
yeah.
she like
Yeah.
I think she opened for an award show.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in the movie
She might have been on
Argyle.
tour. She was
My-
in Barbie.
Yeah.
She had a
Okay.
lot
She was in a
going
lot-
on.
she
was just,
like,
She was in a
booming,
lot,
for sure.
Yeah, so like we had a Venus retrograde, so that's interesting that she had a lot of like big moments like that
Mhm.
summer. Yeah, Barbie was like a big part of that. Like
Mhm.
Venus stationed retrograde on the day Barbie was released, so that was
Oh my
like
God.
iconic, like summer.
Love
You
that.
know, like that was like iconic with the Venus retrograde. Now, Callum Turner, this is a match of opposites attract. So she's a Leo and he's an Aquarius. So Leo is all about like the self, very like ego, you know, very like entertainer, you know, very like I think of Leo energy as like glowing, you know, like attractive. Like
Yes.
think of like bugs to a light. Like that's the Leo vibe. It's
That's
like
definitely
people
her.
feel attracted to her.
Yeah.
And the Aquarius is more so like cool, detached, you know, like aloof, very like different, you know? So maybe still intriguing, but in a different way. You know, it's maybe not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But like to them as a match, they're both very like probably magnetic to each other.
Yes.
Like, you know, they fulfill each other's needs, you know, where she's very like ego and like probably she likes to like be very expressive and he likes to like observe and like analyze and like
Yeah.
you know interact with her in like a more you know intellectual way and she
Mhm.
likes that too. I'm sure that's
I actually know a
Interesting.
Leo sun, Aquarius sun pairing in real life, and they're engaged too. They got engaged last year.
nice.
That's so funny.
Aw, cute.
Love that. That's for you, Cass.
His moon is in Scorpio. Now that's also like I said with Ryan Reynolds
Mhm.
more difficult, you know, moon in Scorpio. So his
Okay.
emotional body is probably more challenging. And I could see with the sun in Aquarius, moon in Scorpio, I wonder if he had a really hard childhood because the sun is not doing well in Aquarius and the moon's not doing well in Scorpio. So, and both sun and moon can relate to your mother and your father. So I could see him having like more challenging upbringing. But what I like about that is Dua Lipa has her moon in Cancer. So like very watery and like very like comforting, and that probably nurtures his like
okay.
intense emotions.
I love that.
Yeah, so I feel like the water, like the emotions probably mesh well. Like they relate to each other. You know, they probably cry or you know what I mean, like behind closed doors
Yeah,
type of thing, and like you know feel a lot of healing.
That is so cute. I mean, someone on Twitter, they had a tweet go viral that was like, I knew they were like in it for the long haul when they took a picture of her at the restaurant and the way she was looking at him.
Yeah.
And I just think of that when you say that.
Aw.
Like
Yeah.
the way she was like literally like starry eyed looking at him. And now they're like dancing under the fucking Eiffel Tower and she's like looking at her ring and I'm like, must be nice.
Yeah. He's got Mars in Capricorn. That's one of my favorite personal placements for a guy to have because Capricorn's very like hardworking, very determined. Mars is your sexual energy, so when someone's you know very determined, you know very daddy energy. You know,
so you're saying
Yeah.
so you're saying I need a Mars and Capricorn.
Yeah, so
okay.
I personally like that placement, but yeah, no, I think that's like probably makes her feel like, especially with the moon in Cancer, like the moon in Cancer's like the mommy and Capricorn's like the daddy. So it's like their energies just like mesh well.
Okay.
Like they really are like a case of opposites attract. So I like their vibe. Like they have a good mix.
I love that for them.
I don't even know them. This is just based on astrology.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted to know because I know they recently got
Yeah.
engaged
Yeah.
too. I love
Aw,
that. So
cute.
exciting. Any last questions? Any last comments?
No.
We learned a lot.
Yeah.
We're gonna learn more after when the cameras are off.
Yeah, this was so fun. Thank
Yeah.
you for having me on again.
I love
Yeah.
having you on, and you'll be on again. People ask me, they go, "When is she coming back?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yay! I'll be back anytime.
"Yeah, no, we love having you here, and thank you for telling us everything and diving into synastry and all the planets. And 2025 is gonna kick our ass, but we're gonna
But
kick
in
it
a
back.
good way.
But
yeah.
together,
Yeah.
together we will make it through.
Yeah.
That's the whole
Absolutely,
point.
yes, yeah. And like, it's so interesting because it's almost like having that intuition. Because like I've said this to a lot of people. I am a pretty independent kind of person, but like last year, toward the end, like the last 6 months, I really leaned on my community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, thank God I already set that in motion because I'm going to need him now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like before this, I literally was on the phone with my friend. He's in Thailand.
Yeah.
Like he was like, hey, I'm meant to call you. I'm like, you're on vacation. He goes, yeah, whatever. I'm like, okay. He goes, let me tell you what I'm going through. I'm like, got it, you know? And then my friends, as soon as they came back from vacation, they came to see me.
Yeah,
Like,
that's nice.
You know, I'm like, I love you guys.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I feel like I have like weeded out a couple bad eggs, but like
Yes.
who is left right now, I feel like so grateful for.
yes.
Especially like you guys, like to have like such a nice connection, like be able to share
Mm-hmm.
information,
Yeah.
like connect deeper. That's like so nice. But
Oh, I love
I feel
that.
that way. Like I just feel like friends are like going to be such like the lifeline like for all of us, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it's important to like make sure you nourish them because sometimes we forget like friends are important just as much as like our work and our family and like all
Absolutely.
the other things. You
And
know?
I always put in the work there too. And I think
Yeah.
it's just a nice reminder of that. I feel like that's kind of where I am, with this whole Venus retrograde.
Yeah. No, good time to see your girlfriends. That's what I like about Venus retrogrades. Like, go hang out with your girls, Have a girls' night. Have a girl, like,
And we
spa
have
night.
we have a girls trip coming up
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, how
We're doing,
perfect.
yeah.
That is literally, I'm going to need it.
Yeah.
I'm going to need
Retrograde
it. For real.
retreat,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
literally.
Good time.
Oh my God, I love that. Well, again, as always, it's always great having you. And I
Thank
hope
you.
everyone learned something. I sure did. I'm going to
Yeah,
learn more.
I'm always learning, so.
I'm excited. And with that, guys, we'll be here next week. Bye.
Bye.